Hi everybody, it's Maya, and today we are going to be retrying Glossier. Back in 2020, I reviewed Glossier for the first time and I absolutely fell in love with the brand. They're actually the first brand that introduced me to wearing makeup. I didn't start wearing makeup until about the beginning of 2020, but I never was introduced to foundations, blushes, highlights, any of that because I was too scared to actually wear makeup. It wasn't really until college, my sophomore year of college, was when I really started getting into wearing a lot of makeup. So Glossier will forever hold a place in my heart for being the first brand that I've ever actually did a full face of. Donovan bought me this huge makeup vanity that I'm actually sitting at now, and if you can't tell my background, this is going to be the official background. I really like it. I even did a little candle to make it look more cozy and relaxing. Yeah, I'm really excited to retry Glossier. I know I love the products. They will just always be OGs to me. I just don't buy from them anymore. I know right now Olivia Rodrigo is like the face of Glossier at the moment. She's like collabing with them and creating all this stuff, so they're definitely back on the market. People are getting more interested in them again. I wanted to retry it and see if these products are still as good as I thought they were. Anyways, let's just get into the video. Alright, I just clipped my hair back and now I'm just going to prep the skin. I'm just going to go in with this Undone Beauty 4-in-1 solid serum. I use it as a primer before my makeup and it works really well. It goes on nice and smoothly and it makes my skin feel really hydrated as well. I'm not going to do too much. This is all I'm going to do for the prep because Glossier, as we know it, is very much it's like skincare makeup pretty much, and I do know that everything is so liquidy, so I don't want too much sitting on my skin to make myself way more oily than I already am. And just starting off with a bang, I'm going to be going in with the Glossier Skin Tint. This is actually still the original that I had 2 years ago. This is in the shade G11, and I don't know if you could tell or hear it, but there's nothing in here anymore. It is almost completely used up, and I'm actually super surprised that I never actually finished this. I remember when I first got it, I was like, this is so small, I'm gonna go through this so quickly. Here it is still 2 years later, so I am just going to apply this like that. And I'm gonna go in with a sponge because regardless of what you do, it's gonna be light coverage. So I just remember always loving this product so much. As you can see, it didn't really do anything. It just sort of evens out your skin tone, but it doesn't really provide any coverage, if that makes sense. But it is really glowy too, so if you're into that, this is for you. I remember I was so interested in this product when it first came out because it was a skin tint, and I remember everyone was saying how much they hated it because it had no coverage and it did nothing for their skin. But at the time, that's exactly what I was looking for. I didn't want it to look like I was wearing makeup at all, so I was like, let me just buy this and no one will tell that I'm wearing any makeup, but it'll cover my redness at least. And it does, very slightly. I don't know if you could tell at all, but it just gives a really pretty glow to the skin, and it covers up just a little bit of redness, but you can still see everything peeking through as if I'm not wearing anything at all. That can be a plus or a minus to you. It's honestly up to your preference. Glossier at this point is very well known for being skincare and just being true to yourself, but it really just depends on who you are and what you like in your makeup. And for me, I was obsessed with this 2 years ago. Now my thoughts are a little bit different. Obviously it's beautiful. However, my preferences have changed. I still hate full coverage, but I am more of a light coverage to medium coverage person. And I still do love glowy products, but I do tend to reach for more natural finishes or for more matte finishes now, just because I used to think that I had combo skin. Now I'm just under the impression that I'm oily because I get extremely oily. So I just try to make my skin look as normal as possible because the oils are going to break it up anyway. But this skin tint is not cheap. I do think that there are way better things on the market, like the Undone Beauty Foundation Glow Tints. Also the Fenty Beauty Eavesdrop, that has actually really good coverage for a skin tint and doesn't feel heavy on the skin at all. Rare Beauty Skin Tint is also a really good option as well. However, that one I did find it does break me out a little bit, but no one is saying that about it, so maybe it's just me. So I would recommend the Rare Beauty Skin Tint. Glossier isn't the only option for a skin tint. I would say you don't really need this in your collection anymore. It's not really necessary at all. Like, I still love it, it's just not necessary. Moving on to concealers. These concealers will always be my #1 concealer, if I'm being honest. I don't really reach for it too much because, like I said, I'm not purchasing from Glossier anymore. It's not really about promoting Glossier, it's just there's other brands out there that are so much better. Like Undone Beauty has really good concealers as well. Kosas has an amazing concealer. Rem Beauty has the most amazing concealer in a potted form as well, but this is my original one in G10. Let me show you guys what it looks like. Like, yeah, we will not be using that. Yeah, I don't know why I still have it, but this is in the shade G12 and it's the perfect concealer shade for me. And the texture of the Glossier stretch concealers are just so good. They're so creamy. I do really love the Rem Beauty concealer. It has become one of my new favorites. However, when I put this on my skin, I'm just taken back to the first time I wore it, and I was just like, I love this concealer. It's so lightweight, but it does have a pretty decent coverage to it. Like, if you pair this with the skin tint, you don't really need, like, you don't even need the skin tint if you just have the concealer, because it still gives you that glowy, dewy base, but it also provides coverage to what you want to cover up. Now, it's not full coverage, obviously, but it covers what I'm trying to cover up. So in my eyes, the stretch concealer will just always be top tier, but there's still options out there like the Rem Beauty one, which is really similar, but just not as dewy. And that's the concealer's biggest flaw. A lot of people hated how dewy it looked. Like, not everyone is a fan of like a wet under eye. I am. I think it looks really good, but I don't know. It's up to preference at this point. Like, just reusing this concealer right now is just taking me all the way back to the first time I started wearing makeup, and it's making me happy. I don't think I will repurchase it again if I go through this one, which is going to take a while because I've had the other one for 2 years. Nothing else is quite like it. So if you are looking for a super dewy concealer, I would recommend this. And I never found that the stretch concealer creases under my eyes. I never usually have that issue with it. I was saying with the Rem concealer, it does crease really fast under your eyes. Like, you have to constantly be patting it out. I don't know what it is. I think it's because the consistency is slightly thicker and this one is so lightweight, but yeah. Take what you will with that. Let's get into the cloud paints. These are the first blushes that I've ever owned, and they're the reason I love blush and cream blush, and I have a gigantic cream blush collection. They're so good. Nothing will ever be a dupe for these, in my opinion. Nothing will ever come close. But there are blushes that I prefer better nowadays, like the Rare Beauty blushes I love. Undone Beauty blushes. Amazing. These, nothing will ever be a dupe for them. They are really good. They're just not my favorite anymore. But I do still love them, and I'll always love them. And these two shades, Beam and Puff, I've had for the 2 years. These are the ones I've owned the long, well, Puff actually, and I've gone through a lot of it, but these do last you a very long time. So I'm gonna do what I did in my original video and use the shade Dusk. Oh, this one's like getting all kind of gross. Should I still use it? Yeah. I was gonna take whatever was on the lid and just sort of put it on the back of my hand like that. I'm gonna pick it up with this stippling brush, and I'm gonna use that as my bronzer. I used to do this all the time. I did not own bronzers for the longest time, so I would just take cream blushes in like these tan shades. Like, For instance, Undone Beauty's Cream Blush and Rosewood, I would just use those as my bronzers, and they work pretty nicely. They are really warm toned, so if you don't like that, you know, don't do it. And look how pigmented they are too. They're so creamy, they're so blendable. They don't skip or they're not patchy at all. It's just a really, really beautiful application with the cloud paints. And you can always mix them too. So that's why I sort of loved them from the beginning, because you can just mix them and be your own little artist with them. It was always so fun. And that just warmed up the face really nicely. Nowadays, I wouldn't necessarily use this as my bronzer just because it is a little too warm toned for what I usually go for now. But it is still really beautiful, and it did do a good job of warming up the skin. Like, it still does act like a bronzer. I just wouldn't do that now. And then for blush, I think I'm gonna mix Haze and Beam, because I do have this eyeliner that I'm going to be using later that is like more this shade, and I do have a pink and brown lip color that I'm going to mix together too. So I think these two mixed together will create a really pretty shade. So I'm going to take Puff, squeeze the littlest bit. Like, these are so pigmented. Even that is enough. So mixing them together is going to create too much, but it's okay. And then a little bit of Haze. That created a really, really pretty shade. And I'm just gonna take my finger and apply it, just because it's gonna dry down on the back of my hand. And then taking the same brush, this stippling brush, and I'm just gonna start stamping that in, blending it out. It's so pretty. Oh, I love that so much. Especially now that I'm sitting in front of this gigantic mirror with lights, I can actually see my makeup, how it actually truly looks. Because if y'all, let's try not to remember my old room. The lighting was just awful, and I could never see what I was doing. I am so blushy. I love it so much. It just looks cute. Really quickly, I'm going to prime my eyelids just with the Rare Beauty eyeshadow primer. We are going to be using some Glossier on the eyes as well. I don't have the eyeshadow palettes, but I do have one of the lid stars. So next I'm going to use my Kosas powder to set the skin. So I'm just going to apply a little bit more of the powder on the cheek area, just in places that get a little bit more oily. But I love this powder. It definitely smooths the skin so well. And we did lose a bit of that blush color, so I will be taking just a little bit of Puff. So I'm just going to pick that up on the same brush and just stamp it right on the apples and over the nose, very slightly, just to bring a little bit of that color back. Yeah, my skin just looks so beautiful right now. I love it. Let's finish up this base with some highlights. I have two because I don't know which one's the old one. I think it's definitely this one. I only had about that much product left, and I don't think I'm going to be using this one because I don't know if you could see that, but there's a lot of wetness happening on the top, like condensation. Don't know how or why, because it was sitting with the cap in a drawer for like a year untouched. So I'm going to use the other one that I bought. There's not condensation at all. There's a lot more product left on here. This was my first ever highlight as well. This is in the shade Moonstone, by the way. It's just a, just like a very, I don't know how to describe it. It's so hard. It's just, I wouldn't say white. It's almost pearlescent in a way, iridescent kind of. Like, it has like a white blue reflect and a little bit of pinkiness. But I used to love this highlight so much. It's very subtle, but it does give your skin that glow. It's not going to look like a stripe on your cheek, or like, it doesn't look like glitter or anything. It just sort of gives you like the dewiness, and it's very, very pretty. But there's also so many other products out there that do the exact same thing. So I'm going to be taking the Glossier Lid Star in the shade Slip. It's kind of like a pink champagne kind of color, and I'm just going to be using the Rare Beauty eyeshadow brush to blend that in. I never really was obsessed with this product. I used it a little bit, but once I started getting eyeshadow palettes, I stopped using it. And the main reason why I have chosen no longer to support Glossier is because, I mean, other people can explain it so much better than I can. I have seen multiple YouTubers talk about it back in 2020 when it happened, but ever since the pandemic hit, they were like laying off a bunch of their workers, and a lot of the workers were coming out with stories about how toxic the work environment was, how it wasn't really a good place. It wasn't the same brand that it was promoting itself to be from the actual inside. A lot of workers just didn't feel heard. Also, there was allegations against racism in the workplace. A lot of the employees were saying that they went to higher ups in the company about racism and they told them to basically just quit, like they're not obligated to stay, and didn't really do anything about that. I will link the article that I read down below. I just refreshed my memory a little bit before this video just so I wasn't talking BS. But also, one of my favorite YouTubers, Chessie, had a whole video on it as well, and she's actually like the main reason that's how I knew about this, because of her channel. She used to be, or she still is, a Glossier rep. She just doesn't talk about the brand on her channel anymore. So once she released her video, I was just like, well damn, like if all these people are saying how bad the brand is and like all this controversy, and they didn't really even say anything about it on their socials, like, I don't know. I don't need to support a brand like that. Obviously, I'm making a whole video using their makeup now, but that's for a different reason, because this used to be my favorite brand back in 2020 and the first makeup brand that I've ever actually tried, so obviously I want to retest it and see if it is worth it now that I have a bigger makeup collection. And long story short, I would just say no, because as beautiful as the skin looks, I still own a bunch of other products that do the exact same thing, if not better, and are cheaper. And they're also from brands that aren't controversial. And I don't know if they redeem themselves. I just remember a lot of people stopped using them and now everyone's using them again, and who knows. But as you can see, the Lid Star is pretty much non-existent. I would say it's like a cute eyeshadow topper, but the shade I got, Slip, it's very, very sheer. It doesn't really look like I have anything on. And I mean, that also is like the brand's, like that's what they're all about, like no makeup. So, you know, it's fine. It's just, why spend the money on a product that's barely gonna show up on your skin? So let's play with some eyeliner. This is the color Slide in Critical Mass. It's a very weird shade name. It's just this shade right here. I have used this like once. I just sharpened it for this video actually. I don't know why it was dull if I never really used it. But let's swatch it on the back of my hand. So yeah, it's like a purpley pink and it has a little bit of give to it. So you can blend it out if you choose to. But the formula definitely needs some warming up before I put it on my eyes, so I'm pretty sure that these don't budge once they're set. I think I want to create sort of like a graphic look today with it. Let's see what we can do. I'm not really a fan of eye pencils like this that aren't liquid because it's really hard to get it to show up on your lid. It's almost like it tugs. I don't want to mess up anything either. Yeah, I can't even get it on my eye. Let's try from out here. See, I did own a different shade of this. It was like a brown black shade, and it's 1000% showed up. So I don't know what it is about this one, but it's like almost hurting. Let me just try it up here. Maybe it's because I have the Lid Star on already, so it's not really like wanting to draw. But I do think the products should work with each other. If it's the same, yeah, it's just sort of ripping the lid star off of my eye. I'm trying to create something cute here and it's really not working. Does that look weird or does that look somewhat good? I'm also tapping it a little bit just to blend it a little bit. I don't think I can do much more than that, so I'm gonna try to do it on this eye too. Yeah, the lid stars. It's definitely the lid star that's doing this, is the base of it. I'm not sure why though. It looks so weird. I just feel like these should work together. I'm gonna be creative here and it's making me regret it. Okay, that's the best it's gonna. I am not going to rip my eyes up trying to use this. I'm gonna take this Galactic Longwear Gel Eyeliner in brown and try to, because this is a lot more creamy too. Because the Glossier was so, it was like tugging, like they call it color slide. It definitely does not slide. This one just glides right on though, even with the lid star underneath. So maybe it was both of the formulas just not working well with each other, but I'm just gonna slightly connect this. And I want to blend these two into each other. I guess. I mean, I'm not obsessed with that, but whatever. Yeah, I guess it was maybe just the color slide actually. The formula of its pencil was just not very creamy. Look, I'm not even pressing down hard with this either. So, something graphic like that. I mean, I'm just gonna leave the eyes like that. They're not the cutest, but it is something. So I'm gonna take my Makeup by Mario, the Master Crystal Reflector. It's a highlight slash eyeshadow type topper. I'm just gonna apply this all over the eye just to make it a little bit more interesting and sparkly. I'm also going to take a little bit more blush now before I finish the eyes. I'm actually going to take Haze. I'm going to apply a little bit more of that to the cheeks with that same stippling brush. I just love blush so much, so I can never get enough of it. And I feel like it has to be the star of the show. Okay, the eyes look so much better from back here. 2 years ago, I used the boy brow. Fell in love with it. That's how I actually discovered doing my brows. I never went back after that. I never used to do my brows before. I do not own the boy brow anymore. I completely used it up. So I'm going to use something similar. It's this Merit Beauty brow gel. Just because it coats my brows and fills them in, not as much as the boy brow did, but it does do a little bit. And I'm just going to run this through the brows. I'm not going to go in with a brow pencil or anything like that, or anything to fill them in, but that just coated the hairs nicely and made them look a little bit better. And then for mascara, I do not own the Lash Slick anymore. That mascara, I thought I loved it at the time, but it did burn my eyes a lot and irritate them. So I wouldn't recommend that mascara if you have sensitive eyes. If you're someone who looks for mascaras that don't make you tear up, that one, literally, I was sitting in my statistics class. I feel like I told the story on here before, maybe in a different video, but I was sitting in my stats class and it was getting towards the end, and all of a sudden my eyes just start tearing up, and I didn't want to get up and go to the bathroom because I was literally looking like I was crying and I didn't want people to think I was crying. So I just sat there at my desk like this. Water's pouring out my eyes. I was trying to wipe them and I was so nervous that I had mascara all over my face. So I was like really embarrassed to get up even more because I'm like, oh my god, what if I look like a raccoon? Long story short, one of my friends in that class, bless her, that's how we became friends actually. She gave me a tissue and she said that I didn't look bad at all, and she was just making sure I wasn't crying. Obviously I wasn't, but she was very sweet. And yeah, I'll never wear that mascara again, but this is like similar packaging. It's the ColourPop Level Up Lengthening Mascara. The lash slick was also lengthening as well. The wand is a little bit different, but it did have a cute pink package like this. So that's why I'm using it today, and because it's lengthening. I received this in an Ipsy bag a while ago. It's the Freck pen. I just never got into it. I don't know why. I didn't really feel like drawing fake freckles, and I'm not. I'm just gonna go over the freckles that I already have with it. Oh, see, I don't know. Just to bring them back. I have so many cute ones just around my face. That looks so harsh, so I'm gonna tap them. Oh yeah, that works, tapping them. Okay, that's actually really cute because the color of it is very similar to the beauty marks already. And it just makes your skin look a little bit more real, as if you're not wearing any foundation because you have freckles. Like I said, I only have like a few around my face. Like, I love this one specifically, so I always find an excuse to make it more profound and just there. So these are the Vinylic Lip. I never knew how to pronounce this. This product is discontinued. I don't know why, but I have the shade Pony. I know for sure this is Pony, my all-time favorite, and I have no idea what this one is, but it's pink, and I'm actually gonna mix them together. There's some products sitting on top, so I don't need to pump it up, but I fell in love with this shade. It is that perfect, just brown bitten color. Like, it's so flattering. I love it. I'm gonna take the pink shade, whatever is already on here, just go over it just to match. Just bring some pinkness. For gloss, the OG Glossier gloss. I actually don't really use this gloss anymore. It does feel really heavy. Like, it's not sticky, but it is really heavy. And I've been more into like lip oils and things that feel more comfortable on the lips. But it is such a stunning gloss. Like, their name is Glossier. Like, the gloss needs to be good. But this is the finished look. I think it came together very nicely. It's very cute. Obviously, it's gonna look good. Like, the skin just looks natural and glowy and pretty, and they're balm.coms. I love these. I have so many of them just laying around. They're really nice lip balms. This one's in the shade Rose, and it has a slight pink tint to it, so it just like makes your lips look nice and pink and juicy, and it's 10 times more comforting than a lip gloss, I feel like, but it does make your lips look glossy. I was wearing this at the beginning of the video, like throughout the whole video. I had it on since earlier this morning, but I'm gonna give you guys a nice little up close of the skin really quick. So we got this side looking very pretty. This side looking really pretty and glossy like. So yeah, overall I don't really detect makeup sitting on my skin. The only like makeupiness I would say would be from the powder, because the powder does have, like, it is a shade, it's not translucent, it does add like a layer to your skin, but it does make your skin like look very set and smooth. So the only makeupness would be from the powder. Everything else looks really natural, and like, I am loving how my face is looking, but I can't help but think it's because of the Freck pen. Just seeing all these beauty marks being a little bit more prominent, I think, is what's really making me drawn to the look, and the fact that I have somewhat of a graphic eye look. I think that's what's really drawing me to this look. The Glossier products on their own, like, they do look stunning, they speak for themselves. However, everything else in my collection also does make my face look like this at the end of the day. Like, I don't really ever apply makeup to the point to where it looks not like makeup. So it's really up to preference. Yeah, I would say it's not really anything special. It's not anything that doesn't already exist on the market nowadays. And plus their shade range, like, let's talk about that. They have 12 shades. 12 shades, And yes, it's a skin tint. So obviously skin tints are a little bit more flexible, but the fact that it's been this many years and you haven't increased. Let me look it up really quick. Yeah. In their concealer too, they only have 12 shades, which for a concealer, you should have more shades. For the skin tint, you can get away with 12 shades because it's flexible. It's very light coverage, but the concealer, no. Like, they should have had at least like 20 something shades. Like, you have Rare Beauty and Fenty and Ren Beauty who have literally like 40 to 50 or even more shades in their collection. And Glossier might not think that that's necessary, but I feel like it is, because someone who isn't understood by most makeup companies, they have a hard time finding matches, and when you have just 12 shades, like, that just makes it just that more limited. And I just think in this day and age, you need more shades, regardless of what kind of like coverage your product is. Just be more inclusive, because that definitely turns people away. Like, they won't even, when they see how many shades you have, they won't even try it. Just little things like that that make the brand not as great as other brands that we have today. So that's how I feel on it. I won't be purchasing from Glossier makeup wise. However, I am sad to say that my favorite perfume ever is the Glossier You. I bought this 2 years ago as well, and it was like my favorite perfume ever. Like, it just smells so good. Like, it's so good. It's like peppery and fresh and floral and clean. They just released candles, and I'm pretty sure that shade is in one of their candles. So it's like, that's gonna be the one thing that I'm gonna constantly purchase, is the perfume, because like, unfortunately you can't find a dupe for that anywhere. If there was, I would try it. So that was it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if I'm moving, I'm sitting on a swiveling 360 chair, so I really hope you guys like the background. I can change anything if you guys have any suggestions. What do you think? Is it cute? Is it not? Like, I have a screensaver on my TV, so it's not just a black screen. And my plants are normally not sitting there. I just moved them there so they're visible. But, and then I have my little stuffies back there that are hidden behind me. But I really do feel beautiful in this makeup. However, all makeup does that to me. And I wanted to show you guys this. This is a fake plant that I bought from Target, but I put in there this little crystal. I ordered a bracelet for me and Donovan, these crystal bracelets, and they gave us a mystery crystal, and I forgot the name of this one, but it promotes like confidence and self-love and just all of that. And I usually have this little plant sitting on my vanity, but I wanted it to be in the background, so I put the little crystal in there, so it's just on my vanity whenever I do my makeup. I'll get that confidence and self-love. Like, it was just a cute thing that I did. But yeah, I really don't think Glossier is a necessary brand anymore. There's just so many things like it. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and comment your thoughts and opinions. But yeah, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and show some love. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.